Well, hello, my lovely Facebookers. How are you all? Eek! It's Live with Lisa. It's Saturday. I'm honestly starting to feel like this is like my own TV show. And if you know me at all, you know that one of the things that I do awfully well is talk. And it's even more exciting that I get to talk with people that I love. Hello, Dehesa. And help to empower and uplift women. And that is what we are doing here today with the Live with Lisa. So we are going to be joined by the most amazing Rosa Coelho of Rocofit. I'm just waiting for her to join us. And once she's joined, we can add in. But we're going to be talking everything from kettlebells to fitness in your 40s to anything else that we end up chatting about. Life by Design, there she is. I'm just going to add her in now. So, Rosa, bring her on camera and see if she's adding. This is the techie bit. Oh, it's so lovely to see you too, Dehesa.
Hey, Lisa.
Yay! We are here. And you know what's really exciting? You are my first international live with Lisa.
Oh,
I'm feeling like a rock star today.
I love it. Representing Canada.
I know, and I love, as you know, I love Canada, Vancouver. I nearly moved. I mean, I even got to the, I nearly did. I researched it so much that I was like, right, because I was due to move to America and then they wouldn't let me in. Long story. I was banned. There's a long story over at Guinness next time you're here. But then I was like, Canada's the next best thing. And I spent some time in Vancouver and I was like, I love this. You know what I like about Canada? It's a little bit it's got the nicer parts of America. I'm going to say this and people are going to hate me, but it's kind of British and European. Like it's got that British and because I was in British Columbia, obviously I was in Vancouver.
Yes.
So I was like, this is just it. This is the city I want to, and also I like the whole filmy vibe as well too. So that was nice.
Yeah. It's a wonderful city, definitely.
And
it's funny you say that. That's how I felt when I arrived in London, like that exact same thing. It's just like this beautiful mix that I could relate to. Just loved it.
Right, which I think it's very similar in terms of that. Though I do think Canadian people are nicer than sometimes the people in London. I'm going to say that too. Oh my goodness, I'm shocking everybody today, making big generalizations. I have lots of friends in London too, but we were actually chatting about this today because you've never been. I know you've been to Limerick, and I'm going to tell our story in a minute. But you need to come to Belfast because that's a different experience altogether.
Oh,
we are happy, lovely Irish people here.
Yeah. Along with you, I have some more amazing friends there. And it was one place I really wanted to get to. But with that travel bug and a gazillion places to go, I just never made it.
I know. And
one day.
How many times, you only have a certain amount of time and certain amount of destinations.
Right.
But I am going to start our live with Lisa today and I just mentioned this to Rosa before we started, with telling the story that I tell at the beginning of every single one of my kettlebell workshops and every single one of my beginners classes. And she's going to find this really funny because she is the star of the story. So I always start my little chat and I go, I want you to let you know about my own journey to exercise and my own journey to love kettlebells. And I always start by saying I'm also the laziest healthy person that you know, because I'm not somebody who wakes up naturally and thinks about fitness. It's not programmed into me. I came to fitness quite late. I became a personal trainer at 38 rather than 39. So, for me, I came to it very late. And I also came to it very probably reluctantly, but I knew in some respects that it was an important thing to do: health, lifestyle, well-being. And I thought, if a little old lazy girl like me could do it, then I know that I can teach anybody out there how to do it. And I thought that was a good way of doing it. But I also say that how my kettlebell journey started was I met a girl in a bar in Limerick, and they all take a moment and they go, really? And I go, yeah, well, it happened to be after a nutritional conference, but we did meet in the bar. I was drinking Guinness, I'll even remember, and I'd seen Rosa do. She was actually one of the panel, the exercise and health professional panel, and I was like, oh, so what is it that you do? And you said, and I remember this, you said, I'm a kettlebell instructor. And I was like, what's that? Like, I didn't know what they were. I really did no idea. And we had a conversation or whatever. And at one point throughout the rest of the time we were together, you'd say, well, I have a YouTube channel and I have like videos on YouTube. And if you really like the idea of these kettlebells, you could do one of my videos. And I'm like, I can? Right. So I actually went home, believe it or not, that weekend and bought my first kettlebell, right? You're never going to guess where I got it from. I got it from Argos. Can you remember Argos when you lived
Oh
in
yeah,
the UK?
totally.
Yeah. And they were plastic and they had sand inside and they were made from Davina McCall. Oh yeah.
I
And
know the exact ones.
right? And I got them. The hardest part was getting them to the car because that was like nearly 20 kilos I had to carry into the car. And then I just started following her videos and I just started to swing, 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 as I say, and press, press, press. And I don't even know if I was doing them particularly great because again, quite a lazy, healthy person. And I was like, you know, maybe I can do this. But I have to say that I noticed very quickly, that my arms were coming in, that my waist was coming in. And the only other exercise I was doing at the time is I had ran a marathon and I was running, you know, quite regularly, but I was being told that running was not good for me, my hips, my shoulders, you know. So I was like, I'll try something else. And then that was it. That was my little kettlebell journey started off. And then I remember having a phone call with Rosa about, oh, I don't know, maybe 5 years ago, was it? No, a bit more, maybe about 5 or 6 years ago. And I phoned up and went, I'm thinking of becoming a personal trainer. What do you think? And she was like, well, you know, what do you think? And for me, the reason why I became a personal trainer was I just wanted to teach women how to use kettlebells because I learned to love them so quickly. They made perfect sense to me for a female anatomy. They are so easy, so efficient. They help us to, for, as I said, for lazy healthy people, you don't have to do as much, which is good.
Yeah.
you get your more bang for your buck, as I always say, but it's not as intimidating as walking in to a gym with the strength training and the barbells and the grunty men and throwing stuff down.
Yeah.
So, and there are grunty men, especially in the gyms I get to, always grunty men. So that's my story. You are the star every time. And I tell this like once every 2 or 3 weeks to people.
Oh my gosh. I had no idea. So when you told me you were going to tell the story that you always tell, I was like, what? It's amazing. You don't know like the energy that's being put out there in the world. And it's so interesting because your story isn't too dissimilar than mine. I was also a marathon runner before I discovered the kettlebells. And I also came into fitness, you know, relatively late. Like I was 33, 32, 33, maybe 34. I don't know. All the years kind of like blend together, don't they? But, you know, that's not really typical. So up until then, I hadn't ever had a gym membership. I hadn't really had that experience. I think I always say I was the first personal trainer that became a personal trainer that had never been in a gym, and really I had no idea what the names of any exercises were.
Same as me. Oh my God, Rosa, that was it.
Worked out all right for us.
The only time I did half of the exercise was just to pass the exam, to get the exam done, and then go swing my kettlebell. That's what I did. Yeah, pretty much.
Too funny. I love it.
So yeah. So I mean, and it's so interesting that one little cute little ball, this iron ball with a handle, has brought two people together from across the pond to start this. But it's interesting that you talked about that this there was like a turning point or a pivotal point for you, because you know, my journey to become the personal trainer more was because I also wanted to get away from the corporate life that I was leading. I really hated my 9 to 5. I was not a great I'm not a great employee. I'm going to be really honest. I suck at being an employee. And also I found just 9 to 5 work really hard, sitting at a desk. Even though I brought my ball in at one point to sit on that, I was like, I'm just going to get fat and stiff and old sitting at this desk. Can't do it anymore.
Yeah. Wow. Well, interesting, because that was me. I was a school teacher looking for a way out. And it wasn't I didn't love teaching. I love children. I love teaching children. Like I love the in the classroom part, but there's this whole other side to it that kind of takes the fun out of it, all the admin, all the paperwork. But what really got to me, I remember thinking like, this is my life now until I'm in my 60s, where September looks like this, Christmas looks like this, Easter looks like this. You know, there's like all those themes. And I started to get a lot of anxiety over that. And I just like, routine really is not my friend. Like I believe in routine in terms of like getting results, but when it's a forced routine and you know your life is so predictable. It just, for me personally, I felt suffocated at one point. And I was like, I need to get out. And I also knew, like I went into teaching knowing that I had a bigger calling. I just wasn't sure what that was. And I remember my grandmother saying to me, like, Rosa, like, there's this Portuguese saying, it probably doesn't make a lot of sense, but the idea is that knowledge doesn't take up space. So go to school, get your degree. You know, you're trying to figure it all out. You're so young, and they tell you have to know what you're going to do for the rest of your life. You don't. But, you know, I believe do something, and teaching did resonate with me enough to do a great job of it. It just, I knew it wasn't like that thing, right? And so until I figured out what that thing was, I was going to do this. And action is what really leads us down the path, right? I don't always believe we get there right away. And so it was the teaching that led me to what my true calling was.
And so you've been a personal trainer, kettlebell instructor and you still do some of that. Tell us a little bit about what you're doing now.
Yeah, well, gosh, I think I've done it for about 12 years now. I had quite a big break recently when I decided to move countries. It was just like one of those tough years, and I don't really love talking about it because I don't want to live in that story. I don't mind sharing it in things like interviews because I believe, you know, your journey can really help someone else.
Right.
But when I moved here, I lost all my clients, obviously, because they're just not there anymore. I was just one of those phases in life. I'd lost my best friend to a freak accident. My running coach that was like a grandfather to me, he was such an amazing man. I lost him a couple months later. Then I moved. Then my at the time fiance wasn't able to come, and then I couldn't find work, and I became slightly depressed, which was crazy because I never thought that could happen to me. So building a business here was hard. It was really hard. When you're in that state, it's just almost impossible. So I ending up in film for 4 years, which was just crazy and a path that I never thought would happen. But you know, it's led me to rediscovering my passion, which is health, which is prevention of disease, which sounds really boring. So I always say I help people get weight loss, but really I'm sneakily just helping them prevent disease and have longevity, right? Like that's passion.
It. I'm like,
yeah,
I want you to look good. It's great. It's important to look good, but here, prevention from disease. Yeah.
You can get it all, right? And so now I'm back to, I've got an online program coming out in September. I have a couple of clients. I don't train a lot one-to-one anymore, but I've got a couple special ones here that I just can't let go of. Like I just adore them. And just getting back onto the online world, but I've spent a lot of time building my Juice Plus business, which I'm sure we'll chat about, but that business is also all about prevention of disease and health and vitality. So that's where most of my focus has been.
Perfect. And it's interesting because our kettlebell journeys intertwined, our Juice Plus journeys have intertwined. You know, both of us have roughly been on the product about the same time, about 10 or 11 years. And what's really interesting is that's a decade, people. Like, take a moment.
I know.
Take a moment to go. I mean, I haven't done anything for a decade. Like, not one other thing that I can think of. Well, apart from being a mom. Okay, Josh is 12. Okay, one thing. Being a mom and taking Juice Plus is the only two consistent things that I have, I suppose. I haven't lived in the same house. I haven't had the same jobs. I probably don't have. I have some friends that are the same, but not always. And you're like, yeah, you know, it's interesting that those are the two things that I have that are consistent. So, and what I understand about that is that when something is important, when you realize that it is important, that's why it becomes consistent. And that's what it is for me as well.
Yeah, same for me. I mean, it's funny you say that because I thought of that not too long ago where I was like, this is the longest, like, I want to call it a job, but we kind of use that term. It's the longest job I've ever had. I've never done another job for 10 years. Like, and I've never lost the passion for it, or, you know, I can't imagine not doing it. Like, I just have loved it. I've gained so much from it. And so yeah, it's pretty crazy. I'm exactly the same. It's the longest job I've ever had.
And you know what, we were talking also before when we came on about you know, interesting that you know, you make all these changes, talking about changes in jobs, you know, you make all these changes and you think, you know, everything's part of the journey anyway, but you think this is it, you know, maybe being self-employed is really good, or building my own business is really good. And that does give you a certain amount of success and experience and build your knowledge. But, you know, it's really trying to get to the crux of it. And I think, dare I say, we're possibly of an age now where we're like, we just need to, you know, we're I don't know about you, but I'm a lot more focused on what's important and what is not, you know, in terms of time, in terms of what's going to actually give the best amount of help. Because I find that, you know, previously I would have spent, and I love helping my clients, but sometimes, you know, it's like leading a horse to water and you can't make it drink, you know, and fitness is definitely like that in terms of, you know, transformation and body change. But what I've realized with adding the team element and building on my team is that that's something that I never got before. I never got that this is not for me, it's for them. And and the love and the transformation people get and the support people get from that side of it, I don't get that in that way from the fitness and the clients. I do. I mean, I loved my clients and the tribe that I have, but I didn't know that it was missing until now I see it, if that makes sense. Like now that I see what it can in terms of changing people's, not just lifestyle. I mean, lifestyle's a big word. We throw around this lifestyle. But what does it actually mean? You know, it gives you a purpose to jump out of bed. It makes you feel empowered because you're in control. Maybe you are coming away from depression or anxiety, or we have a lot of ladies on our team who were really quite chronically depressed or really dealing with a lot of social anxiety. And now this has given them purpose, this given them a sense of helping others and, you know, and helping themselves.
Yeah, well, I mean, I think that's part of it. I always say it's the culture and the community that kept me in it through the dark days. Like I said, when I moved here, it was really traumatic. And that time when I became depressed, I remember thinking, like, how did I go from being, you know, relatively quite successful in the UK as a trainer to like having nothing, like literally overnight. Like it was so devastating. And I didn't understand how life can change, but it's our decisions, right? And I knew that I'd made the right decision. I wasn't tempted to move back. I came here for a reason and I was going to stick it out. I was going to figure it out somehow. It took a lot longer than I expected, but I'll always say it was my Juice Plus business that kept me sane. It was the relationships I built in that business of people, whether they're on my team or not on my team, they're the ones calling me, telling me, get up out of bed, get out and walk, just move your body, just, you know, encouraging me. They're not asking me how many orders did you put through or are you working business. They're generally caring about me and carrying me through that time. I remember two great friends ended up paying for me to go to a conference in Long Beach, and that was so important for me. And it wasn't about me getting back into the business in the sense of putting through orders. It was about just helping me to get through that really tough time and feeling that sense of community. And you know, one thing, Lisa, I always remember thinking that time, they say that your darkest moments are going to be your greatest gifts. And I'm like, I don't get that. Like, this does not feel like a gift. Yeah. This really sucks. But part of me was like, you know what? This is just my story. It's my journey. This will not be my life. It's a part of that story. Because, you know, life, they say life is short, but it is relatively long. And I was like, okay, this is going to be a few years of tough. And why is that? And then I realized, you know what it was is, it really, I remember hitting rock bottom. Like when I say rock bottom, I remember crying all night because I'd given notice on a flat that I could no longer afford. And I had no idea where I was going next. I had 2 weeks to find somewhere, but I had no money and I needed to get back into work. And my Juice Plus business was bringing me some, but not enough to pay like almost $2,000 rent downtown Vancouver, right? Because I thought I was going to be this hotshot trainer again. It just didn't work out that way. So yeah, I remember thinking like that night, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I remember thinking two things. One is stop being so prideful and ask for help. So I quickly called some family because it's just pride, right? And family found me a place to live that I could afford, which was awesome. And they found me a gym where this amazing man helped me to rebuild my business enough to like pay my bills. But the next thing was I remember taking my Juice Plus capsules because I kept taking them. And especially when you're stressed, like I knew I needed that good nutrition. And then I was like, wow, this answer's been in front of me the whole time and I never really got it. Like, here is something I love. Here's something that's made a difference to my health. Here's something that's made a difference to my clients' health and family and friends. And why am I not working this properly? And then I realized the power of this residual income. And had I built that residual income when I was in the UK to a decent amount, I wouldn't have gone through what I went through.
Right.
So I believe I had to, because I didn't quite get it. Now, when that first teaching paycheck stopped, when I was a personal trainer, I was like, I got a bit of anxiety. I was like, oh, this means that like life is great. I'm getting paid amazing money, but if anything happens to me, I can't call in sick to anyone, right? And all of a sudden that pension plan was gone. And so I was really aware then, if I go on holidays, I've got to work twice as hard before and twice as hard after. So it's like, this self-employment thing probably isn't quite what I thought, but because it was going so well and I was making so much money and I was traveling, you know, I traveled to Saudi Arabia and Morocco and all these cool places with clients. So that was awesome. So I never got it until I got here and hit rock bottom. And that rock bottom truly has been a blessing now. I'm like, I get it. I understand residual income. And I'm forever grateful, Lisa. We live in a time where we can build this. Like, look at us talking. Like, even when I met you, we didn't really have Facebook to build when we started. Right. I remember handing people CDs. And
yeah, like, right.
It's crazy. So like we're talking on Facebook, like, you know, there's just so much potential. And I know people always worry about, I don't want to be salesy. And I'm like, well, then don't. Like, look, selling happens every day. Selling's not a bad word. But what people don't like is that pressure of feeling icky. I'm like, if you feel icky, you're probably saying something you shouldn't. So take a step back, breathe, and just share from your heart. Like, not everyone's going to say, yes, that's fine. But yeah, it's amazing. So thank God that it is true that your darkest moments really are your greatest blessings if you can see them that way. We also have to be very open to the way we look at things.
Well, absolutely. And also, I think that, you know, I think I got this before you know, for me, I wasn't even going to reinvent my Juice Plus business. I've loved the products. I recommend them to my clients all the time. And even though I have a studio and I have nearly 75 regular members throughout the studio, I had this understanding, like you've just shared, is that I am my business. You know, I got a bit of an injury happen over the last couple of weeks, and I'd be like, okay, this is just a weight injury. I can still train through it. I can still do stuff. But what happens if I get truly sick? Or what happens if XYZ, or I want to go away for the weekend, or I want to spend time doing things? So although I love my clients and I'm happy to work, you know, and continue to do that. I love my studio and I love my tribe. For me, it's just that extra safety net, that sense of reassurance. And that's kind of why I'm doing it for me financially. But mostly I had this real, I suppose it was a bit of an epiphany or a bit of a sense of a calling or something, which is kind of deep. And
love it.
What I heard was somebody might need to hear this message from me. That's what I heard, is like, I now have a voice. I've created myself as a health and fitness blogger. I'm an influencer. I'm all of these words, apparently. I don't know what all of them mean, but maybe somebody needs to hear it from me. And if just that one person is having a dark day, like we've talked about, or if that one person has no other options, is feeling stuck, is feeling whatever, to know that there is this option, which is, in my opinion, the easiest option and sometimes the hardest option to make at the same time. It's easy in so much as there's no barriers to get involved. I mean, the biggest barrier for us is maybe the 50 pounds sometimes for people. But you know, a lot of ladies in my team or in our sisterhood borrowed the money of family and friends and got started. And you know, that's it. That's all you need is a will and a drive. And that small 50 quid, and that's it. You don't have to buy lots and lots of products. You don't have to keep stock. You don't have to do any of these things. And you get started. But in some ways, it's the hardest step because you realize I'm in control. So you go from being stuck to being I'm in control. And although that's exciting when it's going well, when it's not going so well, you're like, oh, it's me. But what I love about this business even more is that when you're feeling, just like Rosa said, when you're feeling this, you know, in your dark day or having a bad day, there are 20 women or more potentially in your team that will call you up and go, are you okay? How are things going? Do you want to come out with us? We've got training, or do you want a coffee? It's not about what orders have you got. No. It's about how are you? How can we help you? Are you feeling stuck? What do you need? You know, or I'm here to listen. That's kind of it. And there's not one of them that has not been through something similar. So it's not like you're you know, we're all human and we're all women, is what I always like to say. We might be unique little snowflakes, but at the same time, we are the same kind of force of nature. So And women do this well. We do this really well.
Yeah.
This business, don't we? Because
we
of the
absolutely
fact that
do.
we're so supportive and we really get it. And not saying the men don't get it. They get it a little bit later.
They do. Men are allowed to, but I agree. This business is really fun with women, and you know, you say that you've got your voice, and I really believe that's one thing that our business does for women is it really gives women their voices. Like, you can't do this business unless you talk to people, period. And I think that's the thing that holds people back the most is especially women, we have this, and I know because I've had it myself. You're so afraid. What are other people going to think? Are they going to think I'm just trying to sell to them? Are they going to think that I want to make money off them? Are they going to think I'm just in it for myself? Like, are they going to think, and it goes on. And you've really got to get past your comfort zone, find that voice so that you can have these conversations and build a business. And that's what I love is you watch women go through this journey, like women that are so scared and you watch that transformation, and only goodness can come from that. This business has given me my voice. It's given me confidence. It's given me friendships. It's given me community. It's given me, like, I could go on and on. It's given me travel. It's given me experiences. You know, someone asked me the other day, why are you still in this, like, so long after? And, you know, I thought, you know, the list goes on. And besides the friendships, which is, the big anchor in it, it's also the most fun I've had in my life. Like, you know, when I think of all the traveling that I've done, and I've done a lot of traveling outside this business as well, because I've got a bit of that travel bug, but the best memories, like the ones I really remember, have been with this company because, like, you know, Lisa, if you stay in this long enough, you start to build this huge international community. So I'll go to one of our conferences and I'm like, there's my friends from Australia. There's my friends from the UK. There's my Italian friends. There's my Spanish friends. And it's like, oh my gosh, it's just like so joyful. And they're genuine friendships. You see these people and you have these great conversations. And yeah, like that's what makes life rich. And that's what makes life exciting. And you know, friends that are doctors and friends that are athletes and friends that are moms and friends that are artists and friends, like, you know, it's all walks of life. And that enriches your life. Like, it's amazing.
And also, we're just positive, happy people. And I think people find that a bit strange as well. Like, it's almost like you can't possibly be this happy and positive all of the time. And okay, we talked about having down days. Those happen too.
Right.
But also what happens is when, you know, the energy gets together, the fun, you know, the sense of purpose, that sense of being part of something bigger than you. That's what I think also gets people all juiced up and all excited too. But oh my goodness, well, thank you so much. I think we've covered everything. We've covered the story.
Loved it.
I met a girl in a bar. I mean, I always say you can borrow it. It's just like brilliant. I met a girl in a bar. I was drinking Guinness.
We need to like revisit that bar. I love Limerick. And Limerick to this day, Lisa, that is still my #1 most fun conference. I have to say the Irish, like, oh.
Yes,
there was something so magical that happened that weekend.
Wasn't there like, oh my God, I've just remembered. I think I might have had a dance off with Dave O'Brien. Can you remember?
I feel like you likely did. And Father,
oh yeah.
What's his name?
Oh,
I know it all the time and I'm just stuck.
Oh yeah, because he's actually on my Facebook too. And we all went to mass. We all went to mass. And I went to mass with Jeff Roberti. Which I'll never forget.
That's right. And Lauren Slocum.
In our business,
remember Lauren Slocum.
Going, I don't really believe in this, but I'll come if they really want me to do that. And then the next minute we're doing like, I think we dressed up, wasn't it cowgirls and cowboys?
We did. It was a cowboy theme.
Yeah. Oh, it was actually, now I'm thinking about it, it was great.
It was hysterical. It was hysterical. Yeah, the best.
Actually interesting, I was chatting to John about it. Because I said, because Rob was over recently and John and Rob were there. And that was when they just decided on Team Rhino. That was before Team Rhino was Team Rhino. It was because they had a Team Rhino top on and I went, why Rhino? And they went, because of the chart. I was like, okay, that's cheesy. Kind of beautiful, but cheesy. But yeah, and it was literally just before that. So really interesting, lovely story. Well, anyway, I will let you get on. And
thanks,
enjoy the rest of your Saturday over in wonderful Vancouver. I'm heading out myself too, so we've got bank holiday here. But I thank
Ooh,
you so much for joining us.
Thank you, my friends. Thank
we
you.
will be connecting, I'm sure, soon in some international conference. Come
Absolutely.
back over and see us for sure.
We'll do it.
Okay. Lovely to speak to you. See you, everyone. Now. Bye now. Bye. Bye.